Okay, so in the last video, we were talking about how we got the vertices for the first triangle that we're going to draw. So the initial vertices for the outer triangle. And I mentioned that I did some moving around of the declarations of some of these variables, like x center and xa and so on. So if you've done a lot of programming, you've probably noticed already, or I just want to point out that variables that are fields in NetBeans are colored green, and in let's see, in Eclipse, I guess they're colored blue. Or it might be, you might have some difference, but there should be a different color for the fields. And what I mean by fields, just in case you're not familiar, is variables that are declared up above the method declarations. So typically the form for declaring a Java class is you have the head, you have any import statements you might need, and then you have the public class bit, the header, right? And then under that you declare fields. So like I have this triangle count, drawing to canvas ratio. So these are fields that I've declared in here. So I notice I have these declared as fields. In the original book version, those guys are not declared as fields. They're declared locally inside the method. And then I have max y as a field, and max y is declared as a field here. So in the original book version, there are all these fields declared, and actually I only declared this one as a field, and then I declared all these guys as a field. So why did I do that? Well, I wanted to separate things out into like this initialization piece where we're setting up, calculating the vertices for the first triangle. Then we're drawing the then inside the loop we draw the triangle, and then we calculate the next set of vertices, and we just keep looping through until we do all the triangles that way. Okay, so what I noticed was I could just pass in width -1 and height -1 rather than doing that init graphics business. So I skipped init graphics, that init gr method altogether. I don't have that in my refactored version. I passed in this dWidth -1, dHeight -1 to be my max x and my max y. So that way I didn't even have to declare a max x or a max y any place. I'm just passing it as my parameters. So those are my parameters. I did need a max y field, because I'm going to need this later on to convert from logical coordinates to device coordinates, right? So our method for, and this is the same method in both versions, our method for converting the y coordinate from logical coordinates to device coordinates is to say max y minus the y value rounded, right? So we round out that float and then we subtract. So that's how we get our logical coordinates. Y can go go positive this way, and get bigger this way for our logical coordinates, and then we just convert it by doing that subtraction. So I needed the max y. So what I do then is, the first thing I do in this initialize vertices is store that max y. And the reason I'm doing it here is that this paint gets called under different conditions, but one of them is when we resize the screen, paint gets called. So when we resize the screen, the canvas size is going to change, and so we need to resize the triangle and all that stuff. So that means that the max Y needs to change every time, if we resize the screen, if the height of the screen changes, we want to make sure that we're resetting our max X, Y. So that's why that's there. And then for the X center and Y center, again, what I noticed, let me flip to the book version. What I noticed in the book version was that they had it as a field, X center and Y center, but really that was only used, the X center and Y center was really only used to calculate the first set of vertices, the vertices for the first triangle. Then X center and Y center don't get used anyplace else. So I said, all right, well in that case I am just going to have them be local variables, because I just have to calculate them every time anyway. And again, when we resize the screen, max X and max Y change, right? So we need to recalculate our center. What else? Oh, in the original version, min-max XY is a field, right? And that gets calculated in this initialized graphics thing. And notice that this is what it is. It's the minimum of max X and max Y, right? And I notice that only got used in one spot right here, where we're calculating the value for the side length. Okay, so what I did was, rather than creating a separate variable for it, I just used the function call directly, math.min of max X and max Y, to calculate the side. So then I didn't need a field for that. What I did need fields for, that it's different from the original version, are all these XY values for the vertices of the triangle. So in here, this is the book version now. In the book version, the XY values are declared locally, and the reason that they can get away with declaring them locally is they have this whole mess inside the paint method. So they do all the initialization stuff here, and then calculating subsequent vertices here. And notice we reassign values for XA, XB, XC, and so on, so that when we draw the next triangle, they have new values. So what I did was I made those be fields, so that so these are fields, so that they'll be visible not only to the initialized vertices method when they get set, they have values here, but then because they're fields, after I've set them here, then they also have values when I'm calculating the next vertex. Okay, so I hope that explains some of the things that I did. I talked about also, why I have these constants, drawing to canvas ratio and the triangle count, right? But anyway, I hope that gives us a start on explaining why I moved those variables around. And in the next video, I think we'll get to start talking about calculating the subsequent vertices.